Hi, my name is Nathan. You're watching Nice at Dice, and today I'm looking at a product that's sort of an accessory related to board games. It's an accessory for this game here, Near and Far, a game by Ryan Lockett and Red Raven Games. This game is a very cool game, but it has a lot of components, and especially once you buy the expansion, that adds a lot more components. And so I have purchased a plastic 3D printed organizer to go inside the box and organize all of the components. And I just got it today. I wanted to kind of show you how the organizer works, how everything goes into it, how it goes into the box, and then just sort of give you my first impressions of it. So we're going to go over to the table. I'm going to show you, first of all, how I have things organized in here right now, so you can get kind of a little bit of a before, and then I'll show you how everything looks after I have organized all the components into the new organizer, and then I'll give you my thoughts on it. Okay, so here is the box with everything in it. Again, this is the core game and the expansion, and I have tried to organize it to some degree. I bought, little things like this from a local hobby shop in order to try to organize the content as best I could. So you have, all your tokens and stuff. These are all the player pieces here for the 4 different players. You have cards and baggies like so. You have this cloth bag which comes with the game, and it keeps some things in there so that you can draw them randomly during the game, these tiles. So I just keep those in the bag. Again, more little baggies with different things. Some of it is so these are all basically like the same type of card. You have the basic cards and the advanced cards. These are the artifacts, I believe, is what they're called. And so putting these together in a baggie makes sense. But then you have other things like, here's just a little baggie with a bunch of different types of cards. They aren't really related to each other, but it was just the most practical way to store them. And it's a little bit of a pain to pull them out of here because it's a tight fit, so that's not ideal. But just trying to get everything in the box. Here again you have like a little deck of cards here, some other cards, kind of a conglomeration of things stuck in a bag just to keep everything together and somewhat organized. And then you have the atlas and the rule books, and this is the storybook for the narrative parts of the game. And then you have the player boards, the main boards. Oh, I'm sorry, this was a this is one of the main boards here, and other components for it. A couple more player boards. And a pencil. Alright, so that's basically the game. All of its components, how I had it organized. I'm going to give you a quick look at the product that I bought. Alright, it's basically this set of trays here. So as you can see, they're plastic, they're 3D printed. This is like a tray for some of the different cards, and it has marked in each slot what kind of cards go there. And you have other trays for all the various components. So I'm going to put everything together, put it in the box, and I'm going to show you how everything fits. Well, I've put everything into the new organizer and put the new organizer into the box. So let's take a look at how everything fits in there now and see if it's any better than the way it was. So first thing you'll notice is now the rule books and the atlas are on the top. The storybook is right under those. And you have all your boards here. You have your small board, your player boards. You have your main board. Okay, so all that stuff is kind of moved up to the top now. Here you have still the same bag with the character tiles in it. You have pencil. And then you have all these, and all these things come out. So you have, for example, this little tray here where you have your coins in 2 denominations, and you have the gem tokens. And then you have this one, which has the food, the different faction banners, and the storybook tokens. And I like that you can take these out. These are resources that you're going to use a lot in the game. So I like that you can take these out, set them right on the table. People can pull what they want out of these pretty easy. Each section has like sloped sides, so it's easy to scoop stuff out as you need it. So I like that. This is a little bit, I'm using this for a slightly different purpose than what it's intended. I'll get to that in a second. You also have these little trays. These are individual trays with all of the players' pieces, their dice, tokens, their starting animal companion. So you have 4 of those, 1 in each color. So that's kind of nice because you can just, pull one out or pull all 4 of them out. Each player grabs, the color that they like, and they have everything they need here. So what I did differently here, different from what's intended, is this slot here is intended to hold all the dice, but the dice fit into these trays just fine. And I feel like it makes more sense to put them in this tray because then you can hand this to the player has their dice. Well, why wouldn't you do that? I don't know what the purpose of keeping them up here is. So I've just used this slot to hold the plastic gem tokens. You also have the cardboard gem tokens over here. Just as a side note, I like to use the cardboard tokens myself because they are more consistent with all the other tokens in the game, and they match the artwork on various cards and stuff that depict the gems. So yeah, that just works better for me. But yeah, so it was just a good slot to keep the plastic gem tokens though. All right, then you have this little tray. This has all the different little character standees, and floating around in here under them are their little tokens as well that go on the main board. So that all fits in here nicely. I think I might go ahead and grab these little tokens and just put them all in a bag and set them in there so they're not floating freely in there and a little bit easier to get to maybe. Okay, so there's that. All right, then you have all these trays with the cards, and again, these come right out. So this is kind of cool. Here you have the spell cards from the expansion. You have the treasure cards. You get both of these types of cards on the main board at the Mystic's Hut. So you could take this out and you could just set it right under the Mystic's Hut if you wanted, and that way they're easy access for when you need them. Then you have this here. This has, so right here you have basically, I put all the cards that are kind of special case cards. So you have these are the arcade cards if you're playing arcade mode. And then you have the boss cards if you're playing cooperative. And then you have the chief cards, which sometimes get used, but not in every game. So I put basically the cards that are not going to get used in every game together in one slot. And then over here you have, these are the pack animal tokens. And it kind of bothers me a little bit that these don't have anywhere better to be put in all of this. They don't have really a designated slot. But on the other hand, when you're setting up the game, you do just put these on the board to be taken as needed. So they don't really, like it's not necessary to put them in something like this because they sit right on the board during play. So in between play, for storage purposes, I'm just going to sit them in here on top of this, which is the like the encounter deck, the enemies. Can't remember exactly what this deck is called, but that's what it is. And again, this comes out and sits right on the map, so that's fine. So basically, this little slot of the tray here is stuff that comes out and sits either on the board or on the map, what have you, during play. Then you have this one. So this, here you have the Amber Mines cards. Here you have the stuff for tracking character progress if you're playing in the campaign mode. And then here you have the first player token. You have the 2 special animals if you're using them. You have player reference cards. You have the score pad from the expansion if you're going to use that to track your score. And then underneath you have, these are the Red King cards if you're again doing the solo mode or the cooperative mode. Alright, so that's what those go. Alright, and again, you can just pull this whole thing. These things you won't really need during the game, but this you might need during the game. So if you want, you can pull this out and set it on the table to have access to those. And then over here you have the artifacts, the advanced artifacts, and the world cards. And again, you can pull this out and set it on the table if you want. So you have easy access to it. So that's everything. And then of course it all goes back in. You'll have to probably have taken it out, put it back in a few times before you memorize the whole, little sequence of where everything goes. But it's not really that complicated. And everything fits in pretty nicely. It's pretty snug, but it's not overly snug. There's a little bit of wiggle room, so you can pull things in and out without being a big hassle. Everything fits in and is held in place pretty well. Actually, just to test things out, I did the whole pack everything up, flip the box upside down, spin it around different angles or whatever. There was a little bit of shifting. This deck of cards wanted to kind of slide out of place a little bit, but it didn't go crazy. It didn't go all over the place. It just kind of shifted around a little bit. Here's one kind of finicky thing about it is you have to sort of flatten out the tokens in this bag as you're putting it in so that it'll fit into the space provided. So there's that. That'll slow you down a little bit when you're putting everything away. Not a big deal. And then when I flipped it all around and everything, some of the tokens in these trays kind of shifted back and forth a little bit, but not, severely. So there's that. I'd say basically what I get out of that is you want to be somewhat careful when you're transporting the game. And, like if you take the game out to play somewhere else and then you take it when you get back home, you might want to just take a peek inside and make sure things haven't shifted around real crazy. But I don't think it's going to be a big problem. Alright, everything goes back in like so. And there you are. So let's go back up top and I'll give you just a few impressions of it. Hopefully that gives you a pretty good overview of what this product is like, how it organizes the components in the game, its usefulness at the table. Like I said, this isn't really a full review because I haven't actually used it in play yet, so I can't really comment on its usefulness at the table, but I will say just having organized everything into it, I do like how it keeps everything separated. It keeps the decks of cards and the component and the tokens and everything separated in a way that makes a lot of sense. Definitely a lot neater and more organized than the way I had it before. And I can already see that it will make it much quicker to set up the game because I love how so many of these different trays just come straight out of the box onto the table, and there you go, you're ready to go. So I like that a lot. I am overall pretty satisfied with the quality of the actual printing. I've bought a few of these 3D printed inserts now, and I've seen some variation in quality, but I'd say this is fine. Excellent job with that. The files that it is printed from are being used by a variety of different sellers on Etsy to print essentially the same product and sell it in their Etsy shops. I will put a link in the description of this video to the specific seller that I bought it from if you are looking to purchase it. But just be aware that you can shop around on Etsy. You can find essentially the same product from a few different sellers on there. But I do like it. If there's any drawbacks, I think there's just a few little niggly things about like the pack animal tokens don't really have a designated place. You just kind of stick them on top of some of the cards. There's that like long section of that one tray for the dice, and I don't see the point in putting the dice in there when they'll fit with the player components, and that seems like a more logical place to keep them. So there's a few little niggly things like that, but overall, I think it's a pretty well designed product. I like how, like I said, I packed it all up, I flipped it upside down, turned it around, stood it on its side, all kinds of stuff. There was a little bit of shifting of components on like the top layer of trays, but it was minimal. And so I think if, like me, you probably take good care of your games and you're careful about how you transport them and stuff like that, you're not going to have too much of a problem with that. So overall, I think it's a pretty well-designed tray, pretty well-designed insert. The actual printing of the product was well done, and it definitely is going to make the game more organized and quicker to set up. So, jury's still out on how it actually works in play, because I haven't tried that yet. But overall, I would definitely recommend this product if you have Near and Far and its expansion, and you're looking for a better way to organize them in the core box. Again, my name is Nathan. You're watching Nice at Dice. Thank you so much for watching, and you enjoy the rest of your day.